All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds. In the name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right, and what I want to get into, okay, today is dealing with follow after peace. Follow after peace, man. Okay, because this truth, as it gives us a new perspective on everything, it brings us into a peace that we never experienced in this world. Okay, because as we learn, that there's, all right, a kingdom beyond this, reality that we've been cultivated in, okay, and it's in righteousness, and it's for us, that establishes a peace in us, that this world can't offer, okay, and as we follow after right living, peace grows in our life, peace grows in our situation, when we overcome, the lust of this world, which we in the flesh, so, you still have your moments, all right, but we're dominating the flesh. The flesh is not dictating how we move, okay? And as we start to mature in the spirit, it creates a peace. And once you feel that peace, you don't want nothing to interrupt that, man. And there's no going back. That's why, Lord willing, because we know that it's up to the Lord. All right, and that's how we know that the Lord has to put a bugged out spirit on someone to go back into the madness of this world, to still be enchanted and drawn to the madness and the chaos and the confusion of this world, the death of this world. Okay, and I was reading this in the book of First Peter chapter 3, which this inspired the lesson. First Peter chapter 3, verse 8, it said, "Finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another, love as brethren, be pitiful, be courteous, man." And this scripture, this truth, teaches us another level of humility. Some men, some brothers are naturally, humble, more conservative. And even, with that, it's always another level, to anything that we were in the world. You might have certain qualities that was, that was upright in the world, but the truth enhances these things, man. So even humility, enhances, man, to someone that's already humble, and humility makes it very easy for unity, man. Humility makes it extremely easy to dwell in unity and to be productive and progressive, man. With humility, all right, you can get a lot of things done as a group with humility, man. And that's why humility is a major part of this ministry, man. Okay? Pride has no room, because we're here because of the mercy of Yahweh Bashem Al Shah. This is a privilege to be here. Okay? And that spirit of entitlement that comes from the world, that's a hard spirit to try to build with, to try to collab with, and that's why there's no room for it in the truth. And that's why these are the things, that the affliction purges out of us, so we can be compatible with the rest of the body and be productive, man. Okay? It says, "Finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another, love as brethren, be pitiful, be courteous, not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing, but contrariwise blessing, knowing that ye are thereto called, that ye should inherit a blessing." So this is why, we don't get caught up in the pettiness, man, even amongst, of the Israelite camps. Just because they slander, we don't come back with a slander, because rebuke is love. As they slander, we just rebuke and we address the doctrine. Okay, and the mindset that's offered, even that's in love. Okay, like, because our people don't look at correction as love. Because our people are so warped, with egos and nigga culture, and their mind is so goddamn dark, okay, and simple, that Jake don't see correction as love. But we're not here to go back and forth with the pettiness because they lied on us. We're gonna lie on them. And, they said this, and we need to, and we're not even keeping up with everything that's being said. All these videos, and because too much going on, we got an office to hold down. Okay, we address things as they come up in the spirit, but we have offices to hold down, man. Okay, in the spirit, man. Okay, and at the end of the day, you know, we want to be blameless in the eyes of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai when judgment hits, man. Okay, now reading on, it says, "For he that will love life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil and his lip that they speak no guile," man. Okay, so that goes back into sowing in righteousness, man, as we went into the other day, man. We're here to sow in righteousness, man. So we can reap in righteousness, man. Okay, we don't want to teach false doctrine, man. Okay, that's sowing in wickedness, man. We don't want to slander. That's sowing in wickedness, man. We don't want to be, all right, this great guru Hebrew on camera, but a nigga in the world, man. Okay, a damn hypocrite, man. We don't want to be those things, man. Nah, man, we really want to live according to the uprightness of the scriptures, man. This is what we want to embody, man, the righteousness of the scriptures, which is Yahweh Shai. And if we begin to embody Yahweh Shai, man, a peace increase, the Lord, he starts to give us the tools needed, to fulfill our office, you know. Ain't nothing like the favor of the Lord. Peace and the favor of the Lord ain't nothing like it, man. To be in good standings, man. You see, and it's a fight every day. You see, it's a fight to get better, not get comfortable. Even when we experience peace and comfort, peace and favor, that doesn't mean get comfortable, man. That means double down. Keep double down on the things that put us in a position for peace and favor, man. That produces peace and favor. And affliction gonna come. We're gonna be, the Lord gonna rock the boat still, gonna test our faith, see where we at. Still gonna be vexed, with particular things. All right. But as we begin to separate from this world, peace increase automatically, man. That's why you read this here. I'm gonna read this in the NLT, verse 11, 1 Peter 3 and 11. "Turn away from evil and do good. Search for peace and work to maintain it." Search for peace and work to maintain it. Okay? So, see, we have to understand, like, the Heavenly Father, as we grow, in this truth, man, as we grow in understanding, as we, begin to embody the scriptures in our day-to-day life, man, peace, it produces peace, man. It gives us a peace of mind, as we not in these circles and not in the chaos and the madness and the soap opera. That's why it's best to just teach and retreat, man. If I'm on the internet, I'm teaching, I'm researching, okay. If I'm on the internet, it's something in the spirit. 98% of the time. Okay. Other times, you got other little things. You might watch a few little clips, scroll a few things, to TikTok and shit. Just kind of look at things, and watch a highlight, with the Final Four, something like that every now and then. Every brother got their thing, but I'm just saying what I've been on lately, man, like this teach and retreat, man. I'm trying to be away from the internet as much as possible, if it's not nothing spiritual, man. Because it's just mess and chaos, man. So either, teaching or researching or watching the news, seeing what's going on, staying in the loop, watching brothers, But the madness, man, like, it pays. It's so peaceful not to be tied into all these circles and groups and, this and that, not to be tied to that madness, man. So this wisdom have us chasing peace. And that's the only thing that's worth chasing is peace, man. And when we experience peace, man, hey, you'll do whatever to maintain it, man. Peace is worth going to war over, man. Okay, so read this again. 1 Peter 3 and 1 says, "Turn away from evil and do good. Search for peace and work to maintain it," man. Okay, and you go here to it's the book of 2 Timothy chapter 2. I'm gonna start at verse. All right, I started started at 19, 2 Timothy 2 and 19. But the Most High truth stands firm like a foundation stone with this inscription. The Lord knows those who are his, and all who belong to the Lord must turn away from evil, man. And the Lord knows who's his, man. And this is why the Lord, he be hands on with his, man. That's why we don't have as much rope as everyone else. We get the, stumbling out the way. Hey, we get a few knots. All right, the Lord intervene. Okay, and we gotta respect it, because a lot of the Lord had them on their short rope and they got frustrated, and they yanked on their rope, okay, until they was just out there. The Lord let them have it, man. Just for my little short time, seeing that happen a few times, Jake yank on their rope, all right, a chastisement and correction, and the Lord cut their rope. So now you'll be left to your own devices, man. But the Lord knows who are his, man, and he keeps them in straight. And then as we mature, just like as a child, you don't understand the chastening of the parent as a child fully. And then when you get older, okay, now you have to operate in a certain way, and you see why, your parents chasten you like they did. And see, that's why he got the scripture say patience got to have his perfect work. And as we grow and mature, we see why the Lord kept us from particular things. Why, he kept us in so tight. Why, certain people didn't call back. Why certain jobs didn't fall through. Why certain jobs we got separated from. Like, we see why. Okay? Certain things we could have been in this world that the Lord kept us from, because the Lord knows who are his, man. And the Lord is directing the path, okay, of his elect, man. Okay? And as we understand these things, man, hey, we should really, home into, all right, the purpose. And now we got to operate like the elect. We pray that we are the elect, man, but every day we have to operate like we are of the elect, man. Hey, that's the only thing worth fighting for, man. And there's peace with that, man. That's another thing. When we in our purpose, man, hey, it creates a peace, man. 2 Timothy 2 and 20, it says, but in a great house there are not only, I still read this in NLT, it says, in a wealthy home some utensils are made of gold and silver, and some are made of wood and clay. The expensive utensils used for special occasions, and the cheap one used for everyday use. Okay? And it says, if you keep yourself pure, you will be a special utensil for honorable use, man. And we want to be that special utensil, that special vessel for honorable use, man. Honorable use. But it begins with keeping ourselves pure, man. Can't be drunk all the time, chasing women, looking at filth and, all caught up in all these distractions, because as we, separate ourselves, we make ourselves more available for Yahushua. That's the thing too, man. Just always making ourselves more and more available for Yahushua, man, and just letting the Lord have his good work, man. Constantly making ourselves available more and more for Yahushua, man. Because we have been privileged, to be used by Yahushua, and we show appreciation for that privilege to make ourselves available as much as possible, man. Where every brother is different. Every brother's not going to be an exact carbon copy, man. But within our respective lots, man, we should be honored, to be a vessel that's being used by Yahushua. And it says, your life will be clean and you will be ready for the master to use you for every good work, man. And just as the angels, jump up and down to get an assignment from the Most High, from Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, we should be excited, man. To get these assignments, from Yahushua, man. These ideas for lessons, collabing with brothers, being able to go see brothers break bread, class, whatever, man. Even off-camera development, building sessions, man. We should want to be available as possible, man. For the master's good use, man. Because it's the only thing that matters. This place is dead. We should have the leave the world mind mentality more and more. Every morning we wake up, it should be more about leaving the world behind, man. especially as we experience in the peace in Yahushua. Because the peace in Yahushua it begins to outweigh the vexation, man. You know, of course, we're going to be vexed, and the Lord going to keep us on edge to keep us, hey, ready to go. Okay? But see, you get to a point, with the peace that we're just not, stressed out or depressed. It's to the point to where, hey, we vexed. It is what it is. Hey, any day when it collapses, let's go. Okay? And see, there's a peace, man, that outweighs the vexation, man. It's all in the balance, and every believer different. Verse 22, it says, um, verse 22, it says, flee also youthful lust, but follow righteousness, faith, charity, peace with them that call upon the Lord out of a pure heart, man. And this is why, the brotherhood bond is getting closer, man. Against the true believers, man. Most High's, exposing weirdos and imposters and all, like not keep that shit over there. And we're just gonna build amongst those that constantly show themselves to be solid, man. They constantly prove themselves to be solid, man. We gonna deal with that. We gonna build on that, man. Those that are truly rooted and built in Yahushua, that's what we gonna deal with, man. And we gonna fall out the righteousness, charity, and peace amongst, all right, the brethren, man, the true Akim, man, the true believers, man. Okay? And Lord will we all make it, man. Okay? But the Lord is separated, man, and we just stay that we stay separated with those, all right, that are separated for Yahushua, man, and his coming. Okay? So let's go here. This is the book of Romans, chapter 14. I end it here. Romans 14 and 19 said, let us therefore follow after these things which make for peace, and things wherewith one may edify one another, man. So we're going to follow things which make for peace, man. We're not here to entertain you with gimmicks and gossip and expose videos and, trying to be all over the world, preaching on Mount Everest, okay? All this madness, man. We're here to edify, man. Because edification gives a peace of mind, man. Because there's nothing like having a reading session, that you're edified in. And there's nothing like having, watching a video, a live stream that you're edified in. Or just having a spiritual conversation with a brother that's edifying, man. There's a peace in that, man. Okay? And we enjoy all the things, the simplicity that comes with Yahushua, man. And it creates a peace that this world can't give, man. So that's the point. Just want to touch on that. Lord will you brothers and you sisters edify to the next time I say shalom.